Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see part 4, the plot to arrest Jesus from the Gospel according to Saint Mark. 2 days before the Passover feast, the chief priest and the teachers of the law, they are searching for some sly way so that they can arrest Jesus, and they will have a reason so that they can kill him. And when Jesus was at the house of Simon the leper, a woman comes with a jar of expensive perfume, and she pours a whole jar of expensive perfume on Jesus' head. Some of them protest, saying that they can sell that perfume and get a lot of money and distribute that money to the poor. But Jesus says that the poor are always with you and you can help them anytime you want, but you will not always have me. That is why she poured the perfume on my body beforehand to prepare for my burial. And therefore he says, see, because Jesus knows very well that he is going to be only for a few more days, and therefore he also informs others about his death. And Judas Iscariot, one of the 12 disciples, he goes to the chief priest to betray Jesus for money. And Jesus sends two of his disciples to prepare an upper room for the Passover meal. It is believed that the house where they had the Last Supper was the home of John Mark. And while they were eating, Jesus says that one of them will betray him. And during the meal, Jesus takes the bread, blesses the bread, and breaks it, saying, "Take it, this is my body." And then he takes a wine cup and says, "This is my blood of the New Testament, which is poured out of many." And then Jesus and his disciples go to Mount Olive. Jesus predicts that when he is arrested, they would run away, but Peter strongly says no. But Jesus says that Peter will betray him 3 times before the cock crows. Jesus takes his disciples to the garden to pray. He takes John, James, and Peter a little further away from the other disciples. Jesus is deeply distressed. He prays in anguish, "Abba, Father, everything is possible for you. Take away this cup from me, yet not what I will, but what you will." That is, he says, let whatever is your will happen. And Jesus finds his disciples sleeping and says, "The hour has come. The Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of the sinners." At that time, Judas comes with armed soldiers from the high priest, and he kisses Jesus as a sign to identify Jesus to the soldiers. At once, the soldiers arrest Jesus and take him to the high priest. And as Jesus had already said, all the disciples desert him and they run away. Jesus is taken to the palace of the high priest Caiaphas. Jesus appears before Sanhedrin, the supreme judicial authority in Israel, and it consists of 71 members and is presided over by the high priest. Many of them give false testimonies against Jesus. Finally, the high priest asks Jesus, "Are you the Christ?" And Jesus says, "I am." The high priest considers this as blasphemy and condemns Jesus to death. Jesus is badly beaten by the unruly crowd. Jesus' prophecy is fulfilled when Peter denies him 3 times before the cock crows. He denies Jesus to one of the servant girls of the high priest, next to those standing around the palace who affirm him as one of the disciples of Jesus, and finally he even curses to prove himself, and later he bitterly weeps after the cock crows. And the next day, the Sanhedrin decides to present Jesus before the Pilate. The chief priest accuses Jesus of many things, but Jesus remains silent. It is the custom at the time of the feast to release a prisoner. When the Pilate asks the crowd whom to release, the crowd asks for the release of Barnabas, who is a criminal. In order to satisfy the crowd, the Pilate releases Barnabas and orders Jesus to be crucified. The soldiers put a purple robe on Jesus, place a crown of thorns on Jesus' head, and hit him on the head with a staff and even spit on him. They mock Jesus as the king of the Jews and take Jesus to be crucified. In the North African town of Cyrene, a considerable community of Jews established in Jerusalem their own synagogue to assemble together during the feast. Simon comes from Cyrene to visit Jerusalem during the feast. He is passing by when he sees Jesus, who is made to carry his own cross on the way to Golgotha. The soldiers force Simon to carry the cross as Jesus becomes exhausted. When they reach Golgotha, 2 robbers who had been sentenced previously are brought to Golgotha. Jesus is crucified on the cross. which has the inscription, "The King of Jews." He is crucified during the third hour of the day. According to the prophecy of the Old Testament, his clothes are divided among the soldiers after casting lots. He is crucified with two robbers on either side. This is again to fulfill the prophecy which was already told. During the sixth hour, that is noon of the day, there is darkness all over the world, which lasts until the ninth hour, that is till 3 p.m. And Jesus shouts, "God, my God, why have you forsaken me?" And with a loud cry, Jesus dies. The curtain in the temple is torn into two from top to bottom, symbolically representing that the death of Christ. He has removed the barrier of sin, separating man from God. Jesus opens the way for man to enter into God's kingdom. A Roman soldier says, "Surely this man was the Son of God." Joseph of Arimathea, a prominent member of the council, seeks the permission of the Pilate to bury the body of Jesus. Joseph wraps the body of Jesus with linen cloth and keeps it in a tomb cut out of rocks. He shuts the entrance of the tomb with a large stone. In the story of Jesus' resurrection, three women figure very prominently. Soon after the Sabbath, Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James, and Salome bring spice to anoint the body of Jesus. On Sunday morning, they march towards the tomb, and to their surprise, the stone is removed from the entrance of the tomb. As they enter the tomb, they see a young angel dressed in white robe who informs that Jesus has risen from the dead. The angel tells them to inform this to Peter and other disciples. The early manuscripts and other ancient witnesses do not have Mark in order to give a conclusion. A Christian author, probably of the 2nd century, must have provided a brief summary of what took place subsequent to Jesus' resurrection. It describes Jesus' appearance to Mary Magdalene and to two travelers on the way to Emmaus. He later appears to the 11 disciples and rebukes them for their lack of faith about his resurrection. And Jesus commissions the disciples to preach the gospel to people of all nations. He then ascends to heaven and sits at the right side of God. The disciples start preaching the word of God all over the world. And here ends the fourth part. If you have anything more to add on to what I've said, please write it in the comment box. Hype the video so that many can see the video. Like the video, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe and support. Thank you.